Hi everyone. Well, today we're going to start making those baby shower decorations, and my girls are going to help me make them. So what we've selected is over here, I downloaded off of the Silhouette online store this pop-out butterfly closure box. Isn't it cute? They did it in light blue, but we're going to do ours in white because the tablecloths are in, I forgot what color. Oh, lavender. And so I thought the white boxes would stand out really well against that. Now, the size papers we're using are 8.5 by 11 with Georgia Pacific. And that particular side of my mat, though, see, if I do this and I go to page, letter, and do 8.5 by 11, it ends up making it way over here. And I really don't want it to be on that side because I've used this section of my cutting mat so much with print and cut. So on here, it shows the grids. I'm actually going to line up my paper over here on the 11-inch mark. So I'm going to move my design closer to the 11-inch mark and just go ahead and keep this at a 12 by 12 setting, even though I'm using 8.5 by 11 paper. So if it looks like I'm wasting a lot, I'm really not, because all I'm doing is I'm moving my 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper over this direction to use a different area of my mat. So here you'll see again my design ends at the 11-inch mark up here, and that's where my design starts. So it'll cut everything that is in red. Now to set the proper settings for cutting, I'll go up here to my, I'll go up here and click on Send to Silhouette, and it opens up this settings area. So you'll see it gives you a diagram of where to put this mat along with those rollers. Again, you need to make sure that it rolls right on this edge and right on this edge when you insert the mat. Mine defaulted over to cover stock, so I need to change settings. This is where you will find the various types. Here's what they call plain cardstock. There's silhouette chipboard, and many different types. Now, you'll see again that was cover stock 110 pound. So that is the correct setting for this particular paper. So we'll click on cover stock, and then it automatically tells you what blade depth to use. It's saying to use 7, and it automatically sets the speed and the thickness for you, so you don't need to touch any of that. And it's already set to blade, so all I'll have to do then is hit cut.
The number one question I get from people when cutting on the Silhouette Cameo is how to load the paper and make sure they have the right settings. So for this particular project, I'm using the Georgia Pacific cardstock, and its weight is 110 pound. So you'll be able to find the pound weight on the front cover of your cardstock packaging. It's a little bit more difficult to find it for scrapbook paper. Scrapbook paper, you can guess, is probably going to be at least 110 to cover stock, whereas just like plain designer paper and plain printer paper is usually around 80 pound. So that's kind of a vague guideline. The best way is to look on the cover of your packaging, and this one is 110 pound. So then I'll show you how to load it in your Cameo. Okay, so here you see the Cameo. Let me go ahead and unload. Now this is that piece of Georgia Pacific cardstock paper. It's on the mat, and you'll notice this is my 11-inch line. That's how I have my design set up on my computer screen for the design to end at this 11-inch mark. So that's why I have my paper moved over, because I'm trying to use a different area of my mat. Then those of you who had Cricuts before, I think our temptation is to line it up on this far left edge over here, and that does not work. What you need to do is you'll see these white rollers, and right here on these edges, right here and right here on these white rollers is where your mat needs to come. So if you have a problem with your mat slipping, it's usually because this roller isn't right on the edge of this mat. So then I just click Load Cutting Mat. And the even pressure takes it right in, and you can see it's right perfectly on those rollers. Those rollers will be on that edge, and then your paper will not slip on you. Okay, so after you take it off of your Silhouette mat, it will look like this. And you'll see it has all these perforated lines in it. The adhesive that I use is the Scotch Quick Dry adhesive. When I've used my ATG in times past, or those dry glue runners, the seams seem to pop if it gets too humid. So I don't want to risk that, so that's why I'm using a liquid adhesive instead of one of those ATG guns or something like that. You could also use hot glue, that's another option, but I just really like this Scotch Quick Dry. So the first thing I do is just kind of fold in the base of the card itself, of the box itself, including those little tabs, just to kind of form the shape of my box and get things going the right direction. So then I'll put a little bead of glue right here on the edge, and then I kind of smear it, I'll kind of smear it with the side just slightly before I press it down and hold it in place. Now the nice thing with the Scotch Quick Dry is I only have to hold this for a few seconds and it will adhere. And there it is. So I already have one corner done. So I'll repeat that for the rest of these edges. Okay, so before I put any treats or anything in it, I make sure that that dries completely because I don't want any of those to come undone. So I'll just sit it to the side, and I'll pull one over here just to show you that's already been drying for about 30 minutes or so. So this one's completely dry, so all I have to do is put the M&Ms in it, and then you just fold those inside flaps in just like so. And then you'll notice these butterflies have a slit down here on the bottom as well as a slit here on top. So that is where you hook your box together. And the butterflies will just interconnect, and then you can pop up these little wing cutouts that are on the box here gently. And then you have a perfect little butterfly box. So let me show you one that's done. This one has about 50 M&M candies inside of it. And so there's the pop-up butterfly, and here's the profile of the box. It's really adorable. We kept these plain and white because there's so many other colors on the cake, as well as the bottom, place settings that we're using, those are lavender. So these will look really nice against that lavender color, similar to how it looks against the blue here. But again, this file can be found on the Silhouette online store, and it can be downloaded and cut out, and they make great party favors. Thanks for watching.